Olá, seja muito bem-vindo à nossa live. Oi, gente, boa noite. So nice to see you all here. Tudo bom, gente? Oi, Safe. Oi, David. Jacob, tudo bom? Oi, Andrea. Elizabeth. Boa noite, pessoal. Welcome to our live class. And if you don't know yet, every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Brazil's time, we have this live meeting on YouTube. So if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, please do it right now. Subscribe so you'll be informed whenever we have a live class or a new video. And by the way, guys, we have such a nice video coming this Thursday. It's so funny. Do you guys know that we have a podcast? Yes, we do. Adriele and I, we have a podcast, and you can find us on the most common platforms for podcasts. And we have now a new season of our podcast episodes where we not only recorded our voices, but also we recorded ourselves, in video. So you can see us just talking about some interesting topics related to Brazil, Brazilian culture, music, food, Portuguese language. It's pretty fun, guys. I really want you guys to be able to watch it. I'll remind you, okay? So you don't have to depend on me, just subscribe to our channel to be informed about everything that comes from our channel, okay? So how are you guys doing? Tudo bem com vocês? Comigo tá tudo bem. Tô animada para nossa aula de hoje. Preparei com muito carinho essa aula e acho que vai ser um tema muito útil para vocês, porque eu sei que preposição não é fácil. A gente tem dificuldade. Eu tenho quando eu tô falando em inglês, né? Eu sei como é difícil. Não basta só traduzir, a gente precisa de muito mais. So now in English, I was just saying that I prepared this class with a lot of attention, focus, because I know it will be very useful for you guys, and I know how prepositions can be hard. I struggle with them all the time when I'm trying to speak English. So that's why I wanted to give you all this information about preposition G, which is very common in Portuguese. And with this class, I really think you guys will look at the preposition and feel more confident to use it, okay? Oh, so didn't you guys know that we have a podcast? Can't believe this. Just search for Yes Portuguese, you'll find us. And as I said, we'll have, beside the audio, we'll also have for this new season videos from the podcast episodes. So if you also like to watch, you'll be able to do it, okay? It will be very fun, guys. The first video, can I tell you? The first video that is being released this Thursday is a video where we select 5 typical dishes from Brazil and we talked about them. We describe them, we talk about how they are cooked, made, most common ingredients, and if we like them or not. It's pretty fun. You have to see, guys. Ok. Oh, Safe, sua última atividade do dia? So I'll try to not be so long, okay, guys? So you can go to bed. I know it's pretty late, right, in England right now. So let's start with this. Tell me, guys, where you are from. Please use the comment section, the chat, so I know where you guys are speaking from. By the way, if you don't know me yet, I'm Ludmila, one of the teachers of Yes Portuguese School, and I'm speaking from Brazil. Tô falando do Brasil, mais especificamente da cidade de Juiz de Fora, que fica no estado de Minas Gerais. So I'm speaking specifically from Juiz de Fora, my city, which is in the state of Minas Gerais. What about you guys? Where you are right now? Jacob é de Toronto, Jeff, Rio de Janeiro, carioca. André, Connecticut, Charles de Dallas, Texas. Muito bem, gente. Safe, I already told you where Safe is speaking from. He's speaking from England. So, are you guys ready? So let me share with you guys my screen so you can see what I'm about to show you here. David, você tá na cidade do Cabo? It's 2 p.m.? 2 a.m.? Oh my God. Is it so? So David is speaking from Michigan, Elk Grove, California. Jeff, I wish I was carioca. No, you had to wish you was mineiro. Just kidding, guys. So, oi Bill, welcome. Speaking from Charleston. That's nice, guys. Guys, be very welcome to our class. Sejam muito bem-vindos à nossa aula. So, let's start now. Let's use this time to learn something new, to improve our knowledge in Portuguese and go further towards our goal of speaking Portuguese, right? So, just so I know, if you are a Yapper, if you're a student from our school, please use the hashtag #SoYapper so I can recognize you, okay? And remember, during the class, keep asking your questions, making your comments, because we will be talking the whole time, okay? Okay, guys, so don't forget, keep talking to me. So more people saying where they're from. So Elizabeth from Washington. That's good, guys. So, vamos lá? So let me start, guys. And we'll be starting talking about this. Significados da preposição de. What's the meaning of this word, guys? Do you know? What does significado means? We'll be talking now, to start, about the possible meanings that preposition de has in Portuguese. Of course, I didn't cover them all because there are so many, guys, actually. But I selected probably the most common meanings and uses that we have for preposition de. So you can see in which cases the preposition de will be required, you see? Because this is the thing about prepositions, guys, and that's why we find them so hard to learn, because this is not a case of translation. If it was, it would be so much easier. You just needed to know the typical translation for preposition de, and that's it. You'll be done. But it's not. Although we have a preposition which is comparable to preposition de, and I'm going to show you, some structures in the language, some constructions, some sentences will not require preposition de. Maybe they will require the preposition that is commonly translated as de, like randomly, not in a sentence. But when you have to translate this sentence to Portuguese, it will be a different sentence. So that's why we need to understand what are the situations where preposition de is required. Also, we need to know which verbs normally require preposition de. You know, this is more our smartest way to study the language. You know, it's a better way for you guys. So let's begin. I don't know why, but my screen keeps turning off, but I'll try to keep looking at the comments, guys, so please continue. So many yappers tonight. This is amazing. So that's it, Jacob. Very good. Significados means meanings. So let's see the meanings of preposition de. So first of all, we can use it to indicate procedência, origin, where someone is coming from or is from. So check it out this sentence. Ela chegou da França. What's the meaning of this sentence, guys? Ela chegou da França. Look, as in this sentence, I'm saying the origin of this woman, I have to use preposition de in this case. So whenever you indicate someone, something's origin, you use preposition de, okay? So, ela chegou da França means she arrived from France, okay? Let's see the second meaning. We also use preposition de to talk about the topic we are talking about, or better saying, to refer to the topic we are talking about, okay? So, look at this sentence here. Ela falou de política. By the way, what is the meaning of this sentence? I read it wrong. It's not ela, it's ele. Ele falou de política. Ele falou de política. What's the meaning here? So this sentence, notice, here we are saying the topic of the conversation. That's why we use preposition de política. Okay, so whenever we mention, we refer to the topic of a conversation, we use preposition de. Okay, so very good. I can see your answers about the translation of the sentences. Very good, good job. So this one means she spoke about politics, or she talked about politics, okay? Very good. Let's see another one. We also use preposition de, guys, to talk about the material used in some object, to say what an object is made of. So check it out, this sentence. And by the way, I agreed with you translating this as she, but yes, it's he. Ele falou, so he spoke. Okay? Very good. So coming back, brinco de ouro. What's the meaning of this sentence, guys? Brinco de ouro. Notice that here we are mentioning the material used here. That's why we need to use preposition de. And correct, that's the translation. Golden earring, okay? Or earring of gold, translating more like Portuguese, so you can see or compare, okay? So, as here we are mentioning the earrings material, which is gold, we use de, okay? So, to talk about materials, we also use de. Let's say, this I could say, caneta de plástico, okay? A plastic pen, okay? So, let's see another one. We can also use preposition de to indicate cause, reason, okay? So, check it out, this line here, guys. And by the way, how can we translate it? Morreu de ataque cardíaco. Here we are not specifying who suffered this, who passed this. But imagine we can say ele or ela, okay? He or she. Morreu de ataque cardíaco. Very good, guys. Died, or he or she, we could infer, died of a heart attack, okay? So heart attack in Portuguese commonly is translated as ataque cardíaco, okay? We use very often this this word here and its variations to talk about heart, okay? So here, as we are specifying the cause of the death, we can use preposition de. Morreu de ataque cardíaco. So also we could say morreu de tristeza, died of sadness, okay? So the cause can be indicated by preposition de. Let's see this one now. To indicate possuidor, the owner of something. This is one of the most common cases where we use preposition de to indicate the owner. So this sentence, guys, how could we translate it? A casa dos pais. A casa dos pais. How do we say this? And notice here we are specifying who's the owner of casa. That's why we use preposition de. Very good, guys. Parents' house or the house of the parents. As we don't have meu, minha here, we won't say my. We can say just house of the parents, okay? So, but the important thing here is identify that we are using preposition de because here we are mentioning who's the owner of the house, okay? Very good. Muito bem, gente. Well done. Another use, and we are almost done here, okay? Finalidade. We use preposition de to indicate purpose, okay? So check it out, this sentence. Vestido de festa. What's the meaning of this sentence? Vestido de festa. So here, in this little part of the sentence, we are indicating the purpose of vestido. How can we use it, or what can we use it for? That's why we can indicate this with preposition de. That's it, guys, correct. We can translate this sentence as a party dress. So if I want to say the purpose of this dress, which is to use or to wear it at parties, then to indicate this purpose, I can use de. Vestido de festa, okay? And here, another situation, we can use preposition de to indicate dimension, dimensão, size. So imagine this, homem de 2 metros. The meaning, a man of 2 meters or a 2 meters man. Yes, in Brazil, it's for sure a giant. It's not common to have people this tall. But that's it. Here, guys, we are indicating this man's height or size, not size, right? But how tall he is. So I could use the same preposition to indicate a house size and any other thing. So to indicate dimension, size, we can use preposition de. Homem de 2 metros. A man of 2 meters. Or a 2-meter man. Okay? Very tall, yeah. So, last situation I'm going to talk about tonight, okay? Because as I said, you can find more uses for preposition de, but we are going to focus tonight on the most common ones. So this can be very useful to you. We can also use preposition de to indicate value, price of something, okay? Valor. Like in this sentence. How can we translate this one? Uma bolsa de R$100. What's the translation for this sentence? Uma bolsa de R$100. So notice here we are indicating this bolsa price. That's why we can use preposition de, okay? So uma bolsa Bolsa can be translated as purse, bag. It's something, let me show you, like this. This is a purse, okay? Uma bolsa em português. So, here the sentence can be translated as $100 purse. That's it. So, as here we are indicating this purse value or price, we can say G. We can use preposition G to indicate this price. Okay? $100 purse. That's it. Got it, guys? So this is a very nice list for you, okay? With many important information on when to use this preposition. But we have more. I have more to share with you tonight. So here, guys, let's see something also very important. Traduções mais comuns. What are the most common translations for preposition G? And remember what I said in the beginning of this class. Prepositions are not about translations. Don't trust this because you'll make mistakes. If you think that, oh, whenever I have to use of, I just translate to G, then I'm fine, you'll be wrong. You make mistakes. It's not like this. But we can say that very often there's a correspondence between preposition of and preposition G in Portuguese, as preposition from and preposition G. So what I mean is, very often, in many situations, we can translate preposition G to from or of. So when we are using preposition G and to mean things related to this sense of belonging or indicating a part of something, we can use of, right, correspondently in English, or we use also preposition G to indicate origin, remember? So that's why we use from as a possible translation, okay? So these are two common correspondence. So just compare here and we can see it. Imagine I say south of Bahia. By the way, have you guys been to the south of Bahia? You should. If you haven't yet, you should. It's great place with very nice beaches. Very nice place. And let's continue. South of Bahia. Then, if we translate this to Portuguese, we'll have sul da Bahia. You see? So, whenever we have this situation where we show a part of a place or where we indicate a location, where we indicate a possession, we use preposition G in Portuguese, okay? Nunca. Olha, Nino, you have been to Bahia. Já fui ao sul da Bahia. Where? I've been to Arraial da Ajuda, myself, and to Trancoso and Porto Seguro. Very nice places. So, here, let's compare the use of preposition from. I'm from Minas, my case. Eu sou de Minas, you see? So, these common translations show an equivalence. But remember that this is partially true, okay? So, now, I want to show you something very important too, which is the typical combinations and contractions we do between preposition G and an article, okay? So, let me show you now. I know many people struggle with this when they see da, do, and by the way, earlier today, not today, it was last night, actually, last evening. I did a quiz on our Instagram stories on prepositions, and I put lots of sentences using preposition da, do, de, And I know it can be very confusing for many of you. So now I want you to focus to understand when you should use da or just de, and when you should use do or just de. Okay? So, first of all, when we have da, guys, what is actually inside this contraction, this little word, is preposition de plus the definite article a, which is the feminine form of the definite article. So whenever you have de followed by the article a, you have to combine them into a single word, and it becomes just da. This is a rule in Portuguese. If you have preposition de followed by the definite article, you have to contract them into a single word, okay? So it will become da. So this little e here disappears. And the same happens here, guys. Whenever you have preposition de followed by the masculine definite article o, you have to combine them into a single word, do. And this e here disappears, okay? So this is a rule of the language. And when to use one and the other. So remember, guys, something very important. When you see de, you are seeing just the preposition. Let's say you are seeing just of or just from. But when you see da or do being used, it means that you have a preposition plus the article. So it's the same as, for example, when we have this sentence in English, the arrival of the police. Here we have of, which would be corresponding to preposition de, and the definite article, corresponding to a in this case. Why? Why are we using a in this case to translate the? Tell me here on the chat. So I'm putting this here so you can compare and understand that you are going to use da when you have of followed by the. Okay? When you have a preposition equivalent to de, let's say of, from, or another one depending on the case, and a definite article right after it. Okay? The police means os homens, that's it. Here in Brazil we say this. Did you know that when people say os homens, which is an informal way to say os homens, meaning man, the man, we are referring to the policeman. It's a slang for this, okay? So that's it. Let's translate this sentence, guys. The arrival of the police will be, how can we translate this? A chegada da polícia. Da, because we have here preposition and article. In this case, the feminine article, right? Because, very good, David. Muito bem. Polícia is a feminine noun. That's why I need to add here a, the feminine definite article. Okay? So let's see this other one, guys. Same idea, okay? I put this here so you guys could have a comparison. If I say a castle from the 13th century, in Portuguese this will be castelo do século XIII. Here, guys, notice something. We don't use just disappeared. The word disappeared from my mind, guys. We don't use números ordinários in this case, as in English, because here we are saying 13th, right? In Portuguese, literally, this would be 13º, but we don't say centuries like this. We just put the number regularly, okay? As you would say to say, I don't know, someone's phone number, you know? But pay attention to our focus today, right? A castle from the 13th century would be castelo do século XIII, because we have from, preposition here, and the right after it. And here we are using o because castelo is, not castelo, sorry, século is a masculine noun, o século. That's why here we need the masculine definite article, okay? Ordinal, thank you, Elizabeth. It completely disappeared from my mind. So you see, guys, I'm just comparing here so you can see that when you have only G, you are not specifying the noun you are referring to. You are just using G because the construction, the structure of that sentence requires preposition G. If you use do or da, then you are specifying, right? Because it means you are using a definite article. And of course, it's important to remember that we may use definite articles where you don't need to use in your native language. Can you think of an example where in English, let's say, you don't need to add a definite article and in Portuguese you need to? This can happen too, because maybe you can compare and think, oh, we don't need a definite article. Why in Portuguese then people are saying da or do? So there are some situations where in English you need to and we don't in Portuguese, or the other way around, which by the way is more common. Can you think of a situation like this? Repeating. Can you think of a situation where in Portuguese we need to use a definite article and in English you don't need to? And that's why in this case you would have to add to your sentence da or do, and in English it would be just the preposition because you wouldn't need an article. I can't see yet your answers, but I'll tell you. And I hope you guys will answer correctly. But one of the situations where this happens is when we are talking about countries, right? In Portuguese, when we refer to a country, we need to use the definite article. I have to say, o Brasil. Let's say, o Brasil é grande. In English, I just say, Brazil is big. I don't need to put a definite article like this before the country's name. I don't need to say, the Brazil is big. I just say, Brazil is big. But in Portuguese, I have to say, o Brasil é grande. What I mean by that? I mean, guys, that sometimes you need to use do or da, meaning that you are adding a definite article, even though this is not necessary in English or in your native language. Okay? Got it? Very good example too, Elizabeth. When I say in English, I go to school, I don't need a definite article. But in Portuguese we say, eu vou para a escola. We contract it all and say just pra. Eu vou pra a escola. But we need definite articles. So, now, let me comment on the pronunciation, guys. Pay attention. This preposition here, let me put it here. G. This, in my region, is pronounced like this. G, G, G. Just like letter G, right? G, G. But there are some regions in Brazil where people will say D, D, D. Like, notice the difference. D, D, D. And we have regions where people will say D, D. So the same sound for letter D, but the vowel is different. So some people say de, some say the, and in my region, and this would be common in the southeast region in Brazil. I'm thinking about São Paulo, Rio, if this would be the same, and it is, we say G, G, G. But what about this one? This one don't vary, okay, guys? This won't be different. In all regions, we just say da, da, da. And this one vary, remember. More formally, people say letter O like formally supposed to. Do, do, do. But like if you pay attention to people speaking, they will say do, do, do. So this is an important rule. Letter O in the end of a word in Portuguese, if it's not the strongest syllable, it tends to be pronounced like this. U, do, do. Okay? So now we are almost ending our class, guys. Do you think it went fast? What do you think? Because I'm thinking it went really fast. So let me show you. I want you guys to pay attention to these verbs. We have more, but let's focus on these verbs because they are very common. We use them a lot and they have differences in the way they behave in English and in Portuguese, and this can be tricky. You can make mistakes and sound a bit weird in Portuguese, okay? So first one, and one of the verbs that we use more often, verb gostar, that means to like. The verb like in English doesn't require any preposition, right? I say, I like chocolate. That's it. I like you. I like Portuguese. I like Brazil. In Portuguese, I can't say it just like this. For example, this sentence, I like Brazil. How should I say this sentence in Portuguese, guys? How do I say I like Brazil in Portuguese? What is the correct translation? What do I have to do? Any ideas? I have to say, eu gosto. Prepositions? Yes. Verb gostar in Portuguese requires preposition de, guys. You have to use it. It's not optional, okay? Pay attention to this because otherwise you sound really weird if you don't use this preposition. In this case, it would be really weird, okay? So, eu gosto do Brasil. Eu gosto do Brasil. So, notice, I'm using do because I just mentioned, remember, when we talk about countries in Portuguese, we use definite articles. That's why here I won't say just eu gosto de Brasil. This would sound weird because in Portuguese we use articles before country names. That's why I need to add do here. Okay? Eu gosto do Brasil. If it was a feminine country, like Colômbia, eu gosto da Colômbia. You see? So you have to use do or da if the country requires definite articles, because there are some countries that don't require articles, but this is like the exception, okay? The rule is countries require articles, okay? And we can talk about countries in another class if you guys would like to. Okay, so eu gosto do Brasil. Okay? But if I talk about the other sentence I gave you as an example, I like chocolate. Here, I'm not specifying which chocolate. I'm saying I like chocolate in general. In this case, you don't need to use do. You just say, Eu gosto de chocolate. You see? Eu gosto de chocolate. When you're talking about things that you like in general, you don't need to add the article. Here we are going to add the article because countries demand this. But in general, you don't need to put an article. Very good, Dave. If I say eu gosto do chocolate Godiva, then I'm talking about a specific chocolate, a brand, a kind of chocolate. Okay? This is the correct thinking. For example, I could say this. Eu gosto de chocolate amargo. Sorry. Eu gosto... This one would be the kind. So I would keep the preposition de. But if I say... Eu gosto do chocolate Milka. You know, Milka? The chocolate, the brand. If I'm talking about the brand, then I would say eu gosto do chocolate Milka. Eu gosto do chocolate da Toblerone. Toblerone. So if I say the brand, I would probably use do. But if I say just the kind, then you keep using de because it's a generalization of the kind. Okay? Another verb that can be very tricky, guys, is verb precisar. Because precisar in English, the verb need, works in a different way in English, right? You say, for example, I need you. How do I say this in Portuguese? I need you. How do I say this? David é inteligente demais, pessoal. Oh gosh, David, you are very smart. And you work hard, I know. When you guys work hard with the language, then you keep doing this kind of inferences, you know? You start thinking about the language in a deeper level. And this is very, very nice. Legal ver as pessoas aprendendo minha língua. That's it. Bem-vindo. Chega junto também. So, guys, this sentence here, I need you, in Portuguese would be eu preciso de você. Eu preciso de você. Because, guys, verb precisar in Portuguese requires preposition de. So this is another rule. You have to use preposition de with verb precisar. Eu preciso de você, I need you. Eu preciso de ajuda, I need help. Eu preciso de um amigo, I need a friend. So you always need preposition de in Portuguese, okay? After verb precisar. So, the last one, it's the verb depender, depend. The verb depend in English also needs a preposition, but it's a different preposition. So this can happen, guys. Pay attention to these cases. Here's a verb that don't require preposition, and the correspondent verb in Portuguese does. Another verb that doesn't require preposition, but the correspondent one in Portuguese does require preposition. And here a preposition that require a verb that require a preposition, but it's a different preposition that the correspondent verb requires. So in English we say let's say it depends on you. It depends on you. How do we say this in Portuguese? Depende de você. Depende de você. Remember that here is the case where we don't need to add anything to the place of the subject of the sentence. Because in Portuguese we don't need to put subjects when we don't have a subject in reality. The language doesn't require a subject in this case. So you just say depende de, because verb depender in Portuguese requires preposition de, and then you just add você. Depende de você. Depende de mim, it depends on me. Depende do tempo, it depends on the weather. So pay attention to these verbs. And here, guys, this can be used as a guide for you to use preposition de. You can study this or take notes on this, because here, remember, in the beginning of the class, I gave you situations where you must use preposition de to show origin, material, cause, etc., etc. And here I'm pointing out some verbs that work in a different way in English and in Portuguese. So these are the two things that you must pay attention to when trying to use prepositions the best way. Situations where I use that preposition, and verbs that work in a different way, because we just assume that the verb will behave in the same way in the two languages, and this doesn't happen all the time, right? Got it? Entendido, gente? E aí? Was this useful? Foi útil para você? As we say in Portuguese, foi útil para você? Was this, I'm using slangs, right? Foi útil para você? Was this useful to you guys? What do you guys think? I'm planning another class on prepositions, by the way, and it will be about a preposition that I received lots of questions about. Can you guess which preposition I'm talking about? Which preposition you find most difficult in Portuguese to use? I would love to know, because if it's not the one I'm preparing to explain in more detail to you, maybe it's another one that we can just add to a next class. So it was useful. De nada, gente. You're welcome. I'm glad to help. So, yeah, I can already see the preposition. It's preposition por. I'll be talking about this preposition in a couple of weeks. I'm not sure when, but I'm already planning to talk about it, because I know that it can be really hard. So I'm preparing a class where we talk only about preposition por, situations where we should use it, the main meanings we find when using this preposition. So wait, we'll have this class soon, guys. So thank you guys for your messages. I can already see your comments. Always interesting and informativo. Obrigada, professor. Thank you, Jacob. Para e por. Obrigada, Andrea. Thank you for being here. Very useful. I'm glad to know that it helps. And of course, guys, if you are a Yapper, remember you have many exercises on these topics on grammar. You can find them in our course at Hotmart. So go there, find where you can practice this. But best way is practicing by doing exercises, by listening to podcasts in Portuguese, where you can just practice it and get used to the way the language is used. This is the best way to memorize, like situations where you use prepositions. I listen to podcasts all the time, and they help me a lot. Sometimes I struggle with some prepositions, but then I remember a line said by someone and the way they use it. So it helps a lot. Remember that this Thursday, what do you guys have from us? A new episode from our podcast being released. So stay tuned, because it will be very funny and informative too. And that's it. Next week you have another class with us. This same time, guys, 9 p.m. Brazil's time. Ok? Gente, Muito obrigada. Thank you guys so much. Hope you have enjoyed. And I'll see you soon. Boa noite para vocês, bons sonos, bom sono, bons sonhos e até a próxima. Tchau, tchau, gente. Brigadão. Thank you so much.